And welcome back to the show. Well, there is a delightful romantic drama starting in cinemas this week called One Perfect Match. And we've been lucky enough today to get the director, Jo-annebrechin, on the phone to chat a little bit about this great film. So welcome to the program, Jo-anne.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Jo-anne, I've got to say, I was able to sit down last night and watch One Perfect Match. And this is a great little romantic drama. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about where your journey started with this film, because of course it's screenwritten by Ansley Gordon. So tell us a little bit about when you first started on this project and what you first thought when you read the script for One Perfect Match.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been working with Jag Entertainment, who produced this one, amongst a number of other amazing rom-coms up here in Brisbane. So I had actually just wrapped When Love Springs, another rom-com with them, and then this script landed on my desk. And yeah, Ainsley wrote When Love Springs and this one, and I mean, I love her writing. I love the hook. You know, a matchmaker that falls in love with her client. It's like a perfect forbidden love romance film. So yeah, it instantly hooked me.
So what was it about it that hooked you? Like you said, it's got the interesting premise of a matchmaker falling in love herself. So what was it? Was it the characters that drew you in? Was it that hook with that story? What was it exactly that made you want to direct this film?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. I loved the hook. I love when, a film can be, in a really short, succinct log line and you just get it. You know, the premise is clear, the obstacles are clear. I think that's a really engaging storyline. But also the characters are so beautiful. I really love, Merritt did an amazing job with Lucy, as did Lyndall Martin with her assistant, who kind of is the, like, sister nudging her into love the whole time. And Joshua, as Finn, was so good. He was sort of like a bumbly Hugh Grant-esque, which I think is a really beautiful way to show a male character where he's, a gorgeous, suave guy, but when it comes to love, he's as awkward as the rest of us.
Yeah, it was really interesting because my wife always laughs at me when I'm watching a romantic drama or a romantic comedy because I get very, very critical of the characters and I'll be like, he deserves better than her, or he's a sleaze, why does she like him? But these characters are absolutely perfect for each other, and you see that from the very start, which means that you're barracking for them. That's something that I find very rare in romantic dramas or romantic comedies. Was that something that you were aware of when you were making the film as well, that the audience would be thinking, no, these are the perfect couple from the start?
Yeah, I'm so glad that that resonated with you because, yes, absolutely. Like, I'm a huge fan of sort of those classic 80s, 90s rom-coms, anything with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks and, like those good, wholesome films where you're like you say, you meet them and you're like, okay, they're meant to be together. And then we just throw every obstacle at them until they can finally, hopefully, be together. Spoiler alert. But yeah, like I really love that, because I agree. Like when you watch a couple and yeah, you think, oh, why would she be with him? That kind of undermines her, and then you kind of root for her less. So yeah, I'm so glad that you found that in this.
The other bit that I found really unusual as well, but I loved it because it was so unusual, was that when he starts dating Lucy's client, you don't hate her client. Like, you do hope that they'll split up because you want him with Lucy, but at the same time, you don't hate her. Whereas in Hollywood, I think a lot of the times they would have made her absolutely despicable, as so that the audience would hate her. Was that a challenge in a way though with the screenplay where you were thinking people are actually going to feel sorry for her and not dislike her?
Yeah, look, I mean, and that's also like real big kudos to Charlotte, who portrayed her, Charlotte Chimes. So we had those exact discussions around ensuring that she was likable. So, she was obviously very different to Lucy and offered Finn like a different choice. And, she was quirky in her own way, but I think, yeah, Charlotte did a really great job of shaping a character where, yeah, as you said, you still liked her and you still wanted her to find love. And then when Lucy ultimately sets her up with somebody else, yeah, it is a happy ending all around. And I think, yeah, I think that is a good thing that all the characters, you root for all of them. And I think also it made Lucy, it makes Lucy so much more endearing where even though Charlotte was her competition, she still genuinely wants Charlotte to find love.
Now, of course, you had the perfect characters there on the page. Then you had to find the actors and actresses to play those parts. Tell us a little bit about that casting process, especially when it came to Merritt and Joshua.
Yeah, I mean, look, big shout out to Ben Parkinson, who does all of the casting on the Jaggy Entertainment films. He's a local Brizzy man, and he's fabulous at what he does. Look, I love the casting process, and I was thrilled. So this film, they often sort of come with the script and the leading lady attached. So Merritt coming out from the States. So look, when Merritt flew in and we met each other, it was just, instant. She is incredible on screen and off screen. She is a joy to work with. So I was just beyond thrilled that Merritt was attached. And from there, it was sort of like, okay, well, who else can we surround you with? I believe there was actually an original other leading man that the buyers wanted, but Merritt and I and Steve got in a room, and I think Steve had just worked with Josh on Lovers in the Air. Yep. With Delta Goodrum. And yeah, Merritt and I just pitched that we were like, Josh is the man for this role. So with the two of us, they couldn't say no.
Now, one of the things I love about Jaggy Entertainment films as well is that Queensland becomes very much part of the film, and you always learn something a little bit new about Queensland. This time it's the wine industry that really gets showcased with this film. Was that something important with One Perfect Match, to not only show these beautiful locations in Queensland, but to also have the wine industry as such an important part of the film as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm new to Brisbane. I only moved up here about a year and a half ago, and even I've been blown away by, just the incredible locations that there are within sort of 30 minutes of the CBD, whereas coming from Sydney, or Melbourne, similar, where it's like it takes kind of an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to anywhere interesting. Whereas, Brisbane, you've got everything sort of, within arm's reach of the CBD. You've got beach, you've got mountains, you've got vineyards. And that was definitely a huge part of the story and the story world, in that, One Perfect Match, I guess, also playing a little bit on wine pairings and matching wines and all that kind of stuff. So that was definitely an important sort of character in the film.
Now, this is a completely selfish question, but I'm guessing a lot of our listeners will be keen to know this as well. I'm heading to Queensland in just a few weeks' time for a holiday. Where was the vineyard pieces shot? Because I want to visit there.
I can't even remember. I think they're north, because we filmed in so many different locations, because the vineyards were separate from where the house is, at the tree, where the wedding took place. So they're different places, but I can research that for you and send it across. But the house was out at Pullenvale, which is a beautiful area. And then we also shot on the coast, down at Wynnum Wharf, and so we sort of were like north, east, west, all around Brisbane.
Now, the other part of this film that I found really interesting was because my wife just kept on saying to me, oh, why doesn't Lucy just ask him out? And I kept on saying, no, it's because that's her job and it's like a conflict of interest kind of thing. Did you have to go away and research that? Like, are people who run dating agencies allowed to date clients, or what are the rules and regulations around that?
Oh gosh, I mean, maybe we should have. No, I mean, I think we just worked off what you had done. Like, she's a professional. This is her business, and it's sort of just good ethics not to date a client. And I mean, I'm glad that held for you. I mean, I would assume it would be a huge breach of contract and ethics, but I mean, perhaps not. But then I don't know. Are there matchmakers? Are there that many matchmakers anymore? I'm not sure.
I was going to ask that as well, actually, because, of course, these days everything tends to be online, whether it be Tinder or other dating sites and things like that. This actually brings back a little bit of nostalgia a little bit, because it does have that dating agency that so many of us in our youth had around us at that time, and you can remember the cheesy ads and stuff on TV. Was that something that you really thought about with this movie as well, that it's got that kind of nostalgia feel for people who are in their 30s, 40s as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I remember I mean, I was too young for it at the time, but yeah, all of the speed dating businesses and, how online it was more just to then like meet and then you'd have the in person. So yeah, absolutely. Like I love that sort of like 90s, 2000s callback. And I guess actually I shouldn't say our matchmakers are around still because there's some great shows. I think it's on Netflix or Prime where it's like Jewish Matchmaker and like
Yep.
some really cool shows or like reality shows around like modern matchmaking. And I did watch all of those in the lead up to this. Granted, a lot of those women are like married and in their 50s. So I'm not sure they're dealing with the same ethical questions that Lucy is, but they do exist.
So did you have a favorite scene to shoot with this? Like you said, like you fell in love with the script very, very quickly, and you were shooting in some beautiful locations. Did you have a favorite scene as a director when you sat down to actually film?
Oh, I would say, look, one of my favorites, watching it again last night at the Blush Film Festival where it premiered here in Brizzy, I love the wedding scene. Mitch and Meg, who play like her sister and then her sister's husband or fiance, they were just so beautiful in that wedding scene. Mitch actually, I think you can see in one of the shots like a page of vows scribbled down, and Mitch actually went to the effort of writing this sort of 8-page vow that he was going to say because he and Meg know each other, and just the effort that went into that, I think, really shows on screen. But even more so, it was great last night to get back together with everybody and remember that that wedding scene looks stunning. But
Yep.
in reality, it had rained for the week leading up to it. It's like downhill of the vineyards, and we were just basically sliding in mud.
Oh.
So to film that scene, literally from the waist down, it was like Woodstock, but on screen and from the waist up, it's Coachella. So like we were literally, we had the aisle was just mud. We had like cardboard boxes squished. Everybody was like jumping from cardboard box to cardboard box to stay out of the mud. It was a complete disaster in terms of the shooting of that scene. But I love that you cannot even tell, and it looks absolutely beautiful on screen.
Definitely. Now, before we go, I have to ask, how did the premiere go last night at the film festival?
Yeah, it went really well. We played in two cinemas simultaneously, and both were sold out. So that was really lovely. And we had a pink carpet at Blush Film Festival, and yeah, it was great to see so many. A few of our cast came along, like Mitch and Lynn, and Claire, actually, who plays the mum. And yeah, it was really wonderful. It was lovely because I had to kind of do a little intro in both the cinemas, so I jumped into the screening a little bit late, but I ended up sitting next to two members of the general public. And so it was really wonderful for me just to listen to their reactions and then be like, oh no, just tell her. I'm like, oh, and like laugh at moments. So it was really lovely to see that like people really went on the journey with it.
Yeah, well, this is just an amazing journey that you take the audience on with this film. Like I said, both my wife and I enjoyed it so much, and it was such a great film to watch together as well. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to people who are about to head out into the cinemas to watch One Perfect Match?
I say enjoy it and see if you can spot the mud in the wedding scene.